When Damien first approached me saying he needed a business partner for his new company, I agreed in a heartbeat. He was always the ingenious one, the entrepreneurial one of the two of us. In business school, he'd gotten straight A's, while I struggled to pass even the most rudimentary courses, and he was always coming up with clever ideas. "I've got something that's going to solve the world's food problems," he told me, going over his written proposal. When I saw what he was actually planning, I second-guessed his thinking. "People will never go for this in North America," I said. "We're going to be bankrupt within a year." He just smiled and laughed. "Leave the marketing side of things to me," he told me. "It'll work. I'll make sure we have customers. I just need you to worry about the money." Numbers bored Damien. He always told me he hated that side of things. Coming up with ideas was where he shined. He hated counting money, he preferred spending it. Accounting was the one class in college that I managed to get a better grade in than him. So we started our business. You've definitely heard of it. You've eaten our products, unless you're one of a small minority who abstained through the worldwide craze of cricket cuisine. We quickly became the leading insect-based food supplier in the Western marketplace. And then the world. That's right. Damien's big idea was crickets. Now you can see why I tried to talk him out of it at first. But I believed in Damien a lot more than I believed in the idea, and I was just happy to be involved with anything he was planning. In business school, we'd all imagined him as the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, a genius born before his time. We had no idea who he really was or what he was actually capable of. The company started off small. At first, it was just me and Damien. I took care of the finances, and he took care of everything else. It was fascinating to watch him work up close. There was an inhuman speed and ingenuity with everything he did, and it was as if he didn't need to sleep. All he ever did was work on the company, crossing item after item off his never-ending whiteboard list of ideas. Within a few months, we had more customers than we could handle. The concept of alternative protein sources appealed to environmentalists and animal rights activists alike. Surprisingly, some vegetarians who were opposed to eating meat were willing to eat our bugs in order to satisfy their inherent need for protein. Crickets were our best seller, and we covered them in chocolate and chipotle seasoning, salt and pepper, and barbecue, deep fried and oven roasted, low calorie and lemon flavored. We tried everything. The business kept getting bigger, and every month we sold more than the month before. After a while, even Damien couldn't keep up with the expansion. For a while, it seemed like he didn't sleep at all, just stayed up all night filling orders. His eyes began to turn red from insomnia, and I told him he needed to start delegating more. He reluctantly agreed. We began to hire a few people to work with us, mostly to help with packaging. Pretty soon, we were running out of places to source crickets from. But Damien had the idea that we should breed our own. The problem was crickets need food, and that meant that we needed to provide it for them. We made a garden just for the crickets. A greenhouse full of plants for them to feast on. And our business boomed even more after that. With no limit to our supply, we dominated the alternative protein market as it displaced one traditional source after another. We brought in cricket breeding experts, and they multiplied and multiplied, filling the greenhouse to the brim with their chirping bodies. Our domination of the alternative protein market was quick and brutal. We beat out the Beyond Meat product line, as Damien's patented chirping burger recipe was delicious, and nobody cared that it contained crickets at that point. It was accepted, just as much as eating chicken or beef. Pretty soon you looked down upon anybody who ordered a regular beef burger at a restaurant. It just wasn't trendy anymore to eat chicken, steak, or pork chops. All the big chains began calling us, to source our premium protein line. It helped that the products were mouth-watering and addictive. Nobody knew what Damien was putting in the cricket mixture, and nobody cared. Even the FDA didn't seem bothered. I was amazed every day as he expanded our product line, starting out with burgers and hot dogs and moving on to wings, cricket fingers, cricket chips, and cricket ice cream. Everybody was on board pretty soon, as one celebrity after another began to advertise for us. You probably saw the television spots. They ran all day and all night. The YouTube ads were just as common. I couldn't believe that Damien had actually done it. He'd made a successful worldwide enterprise out of crickets, but he wasn't stopping there. Get ready for phase 2, he told me one night on the phone. I asked him what that meant, and he just told me I'd have to wait and see, like everybody else. Our garden got to be the size of a small city as it moved from indoors to outdoors. We just couldn't accommodate the crickets in a greenhouse anymore, Damien said. It was too impractical. But they would stick close to their food source, and they wouldn't spread beyond the borders of our property, he assured me. Leave it to me, he said. Have I ever let you down before? Still, our neighbors weren't happy about it. Soon they were seeing their crops devastated by the crickets straying outside of our company's borders. Damien was on it, though. He just bought up the other farms, expanding our lot size until nobody was complaining anymore. Anybody who considered it thought twice about it, if they wanted to keep their land. I was asking him one day about what phase 2 was, and he told me it was already in progress. I would start seeing news of it any day now. And he was right. The very next day, I saw the news reports about the locusts taking over the Northwest, spreading across the country in a path of destruction that was decimating everything, like a plague from the book of Revelations. I went out to our garden to look at the crickets. It had been so long since I'd been out there. There are so many of the bugs everywhere now that I prefer to stay inside, away from them where it was safe and comfortable. I marched out through the hazy swarm of shining black legs and glistening, fluttering wings and fat torsos, and saw that we had not been breeding crickets for quite some time now. Damien's phase 2 was in effect, and he had found a bigger bug, a better source of protein. Or maybe he had other reasons for breeding enough locusts to decimate the entire world's food supply, making everyone completely reliant on him. The locusts are swarming me. They're everywhere. They're thickest here at the heart of where it all began. As they cover my face, I feel them filling my nostrils, scampering and skittering across my eyelids and into my ears. I don't know why, but I open my mouth. I open it wide as if I'm hungry, starving, even though I feel sick to my stomach and I want to throw up. They begin to clamber into me, going down my gaping maw and skittering down my esophagus. The locusts flood in with their slick and shimmering black bodies, their hairy, pointy legs abrasive against my windpipe as they suffocate me. The world's food crisis is over. We will all be full very soon. Damien will see to that.